we go. Lake lady on our boat on the sea, you, champ, and me. Hi everyone, it's Richard Rossi, aka Papa, and speaking of lake ladies, we have the two lake ladies who inspired that song. The
Hi.
leading lady here is Emma Pearson.
Thank you.
And the second lake lady, her school teacher in the film, Kelly Tabor, who wrote the script with me and was my assistant director. Welcome, Miss Marino, aka Kelly.
Glad to be here.
So I'm so happy to have these two stars, leading ladies here. We have some questions that have come in. Jeff in Greenville asked, how did you find Emma? She's the greatest child actress. By the way, Emma won Best Child Actress of 2024 at the film festivals. And I have, industry friends that are, top brass in Hollywood that all say, Emma, you're the best young actress. So congratulations, Emma, on your award for your acting in this film.
Thank you.
So how did we find her, Kelly? Do you remember that process? It was a real treasure to find Emma because she's so great.
Yeah, we needed the part filled, and so we went to Backstage Pass for one. And we had a lot of people audition for the part, probably 1,000 or more, and we had to weed them out. And there were some very good ones, but we narrowed it down to 10, and look who we picked.
Yeah, and my mother, who is my mom, Dorothy, who is 87 this year, and is in a wheelchair, but still tough and still teaching piano. By the way, Emma has a piano lesson after this, and my mother's still teaching piano from her wheelchair. She was really happy. She said, I'm glad Emma has blue eyes like you. And there's even a song where Papa and Lucy sing to each other about having blue eyes like the skies and the sea. What do you remember, Emma, about auditioning and getting the part?
So for auditioning, the first time I auditioned, I was actually in Florida. Oh. And yeah, so I auditioned with my mom in a hotel room while my sister was at the pool.
Wow.
Yeah. And then after, a week later, we came back to New Jersey, and that's when I got the call back. I met Richard and Kelly for the first time, and it was very exciting. And I was a little bit nervous because I really wanted to get this part. Mm-hmm. And a couple of weeks after, we went back to Florida, and that's when we received the message that I got the part, which made me super happy. And we were right next to roller coasters, so my mom said, since you got it, we can go on roller coasters.
Yay! Did you have to be a certain height to get on the roller coaster? Like a line you have to stand and see if you're tall enough?
Yeah. I did stand, and I was tall enough, which was really good because I really wanted to go on that roller coaster. And
yeah, I grew up by this amusement park, Westview Park in Pittsburgh, and there was the scariest, big roller coaster was called the Big Dips. And when I was little, I would go up to that line and just, I'm not quite big enough. I remember when I finally made it to that line and I was so scared to ride it with my mom. That's so cool. You got the news with mom. Oh, by the way, your mom, thank you, by the way, everyone that just watched the film. Emma's mom is her mom in real life that kind of appears to her in that kind of supernatural ghost scene. And you could hear a pin drop in the theater whenever we showed that. Oh, by the way, I forgot to thank Kinema. I want to thank Kinema for hosting this screening virtually. So you've been able to watch this film all over the world. If you want to email us questions, you can email them to richardrossi@lucyandthelakemonster.com. And that's the website for the film, lucyandthelakemonster.com. And by the way, if you purchased a ticket to watch it here for the holidays, I want you to know that you can watch it anytime during that window of time that it's available on Kinema. And please share the link with your friends and families and encourage them to also watch it. So I just take care of that business. So Um, let's see. We've shown this on the big screen live a half dozen times in different cities. And we were really happy that it played in the New York City area in New Jersey, Hawthorne, New Jersey, at the Hawthorne 5 Theater, because Emma, you are, as some may not know, are a New Jersey resident. So what
Yes.
was it like for you, Emma? And then I'll ask you, Kelly, the same, to experience it on the big screen, because I really wanted, I know we could have probably sent a link of a rough cut to you earlier, but I was thinking I really want Emma to have like a really fun, magical experience to see it in the theater. And what was that like? What did that feel like? What was your experience like, Emma, to see yourself as Lucy on the big screen? Because it was a couple years after we shot, because it's been taken us a while in editing and everything.
So the first time that I went to that theater and watched it, I was so surprised because I really love how the movie turned out. It
Oh,
was
good.
amazing. And it was on the big screen, and I finally got so excited because I was 8 at that time and now I'm 10. And I watched it around 2, 3 months ago, which was really exciting. And I finally got to see myself on the big screen, which is just really appealing to me because I was very tiny. So it's
Yeah,
kind of weird watching myself when I'm so little.
yeah, you've grown so much, and we're so happy your mom and dad were there. Of course, we met your mom during filming and are friends with your mom, but I'd met your dad by video phone
Yeah.
and talked to him on video chat when I was watching my granddaughter. But I never got to meet your dad. It was nice to meet your dad and your aunt and your cousins and your friends from school. How about you, Kelly? What was it like for you, Kelly, to see it real big for the first time?
Well, I was excited for Emma too, because this was her very first feature film. And you had all your friends there and your family. And I know you just must have been so excited to be there with everybody who loves you. And they were all, everybody was just so proud of you. And you did do a really good job. I mean, you were fantastic memorizing your
Oh,
lines. And then
wow.
sometimes there were impromptu scenes and you just went with it. And it was just so believable. It looked as if you were really his granddaughter. I mean, you just connected with him. So it was just really exciting for me. And when I saw myself on the big screen, it was a shocker because the last time I acted was in high school, in the high school play. And I played a girl by the name of Angela Ramini, a Southern belle from Georgia. And so I always kind of joked about that uh, character that I played then, but this was like the real thing. This was in a big theater. And I remember I knew when my scenes were coming up because Richard and I had edited probably several hundred times. We've gone over it so many times. So I know what's coming next and I almost have it all memorized. But
Oh, and by the way, Kelly, I'm so sorry to interrupt you for just a moment. I want to thank Colin Tracy because
oh
he's
yeah,
done a lot of work editing. I did the rough cuts and kind of got it going, but he's done a lot of work polishing. So, but go ahead, Kelly. I just wanted to shout out to him real
we
quick.
are so thankful for Colin. He's been wonderful. Every little tweak, he does exactly what he needs to do and makes it better and better. But
Yes.
it's like when I saw my scenes coming up, I was almost nervous. I was afraid I was going to make a mistake, even though it was already filmed. I was like squatting down in my seat. And I would nudge Richard, like, oh, here it is, here it is. It's like you want the audience to like it. You know what I mean? You
Right.
want to
Right.
have a good response, and you're hoping that they'll like the film. We're hoping that they like every part, including our own. And so you just want, I guess, a good response from the crowd.
Now,
And
what's
so I was
interesting is you
happy.
two are kind of manifestations of the same person in a way, because the story was inspired loosely by your childhood looking for Champ with Papa Jerry. Your dad is Papa Jerry, and I play Papa Jerry, Lucy's grandfather. And so here Emma is kind of in a way bringing to life your childhood, even though it's fictional. What was that like for you, Kelly, to see your childhood become a book and then a movie? And then I want to ask you, Emma, what it was like maybe to meet Kelly or to play someone that was, Kelly as a little girl. What was that like for you, Kelly and Emma?
Well, first of all, growing up, it was always really exciting about, knowing that something was out there in the lake. And it was just nice always looking for it and hearing the stories. And to see Emma there, the excitement in her eyes, a child just so excited about being there on set and the possibility of possibly seeing Champ. And I remember every day she was like, I want to see Champ, because we were there a lot of times at the lake and a lot of the scenes. And so we were always looking and scanning the waters to see it. And
Yeah.
And little did we know, I know Richard will talk about it later, little did we know that he would show up in another way, not above the water, but below the water.
And welcome, I see Shawn has come in, Shawn Patrick Greene. How are you, Shawn?
I'm doing well. Thanks for asking. How you doing, Richard?
Oh, so happy to have you here. And so we're talking about, Emma and Kelly are talking about how they're kind of manifestations of Lucy, because it's based on Kelly's little girl. And in a moment, by the way, all of you watching, this is Shawn Patrick Greene, and you all just watched the film on Kinema, and he is the illustrious mayor in the final scene, one of the best scenes of the film. And
illustrious.
yeah,
I like that word.
My son loves the last scene and loves you, Shawn, because my son Josh said that last scene kind of is the summation. If you only want to know, if you want to know what the film is from one scene, that final scene shows Lucy's triumph, and you do such a good job. So we'll get back to Shawn in just a moment. But Emma, how about you? What was it like to play Lucy? And also you got to become friends with Kelly, who was kind of her childhood and everything. What was it like?
It was really exciting for me to walk in other people's shoes. Mm-hmm. And we stayed in Port Henry for about most of the summer. And every day was just super exciting for me to experience this character over and over again. And it was just amazing. And if Kelly was my teacher in real life, I'd probably be the happiest kid on earth.
Oh, that's so
sweet.
Well, speaking of staying in Port Henry, Shawn, you, I think, camped out when you played the mayor. Why don't you share how you got connected to the film and, what your experience was like, Shawn, to be the mayor in the movie?
Well, it's pretty awesome. Meeting Richard for the first time was 2021 when I hosted the Great Lakes Christian Film Festival in East Aurora, New York, and Richard came out with his film, and it was just an amazing, just an amazing personality I was meeting for the first time. He also knew a few people that were attending that film festival as well, so
yes,
it was a reconnect.
My friend Cheryl was one of your panelists, I think, and Cheryl and I were really good friends out here in Los Angeles through a spiritual program and support group we were both in. And I missed Cheryl being here, because in Hollywood, you need those grounded, spiritual, like solid, safe people, right? And so when she moved to DC, I was kind of bummed, because she was like my spiritual sister in the Lord, and then like I saw her there, I was like, wow, Shawn Patrick Greene is bringing like all these amazing people together at this film festival.
Yeah, it was a great reunion for you, but again, it was a great introduction of who you were and your connection not only to Hollywood but to others around the globe, in the film industry. And it was just a great partnership. I think we kind of from that point forward had spiritually, and our hosts or co-hosts from the Film Festival Awards, and also part of our panel, David and Lori Pelton, they were a part of the film as well, and they just became really good friends with me over the last couple of years. And when you put out a call for a film that you were making, I was really interested in that, and so you offered an opportunity for all three of us to be a part of your film. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to do it. I'm going to make the 6-hour trek from Buffalo all the way to Port Henry. And, I'm a road dog, so taking long journeys is not a big deal for me. Mm-hmm. But 6 hours, I've been 7 hours to New York City several times. I've been to Florida and back. That's 13 hours or 20 hours of driving, actually. So, just the whole point of being a part of your project to me was an honor. And the story, I really liked it. It resonated with like a heartwarming feeling, family film. And I just, I was honored just to be a part of it. And after that 6-hour trek down there. It's a sidebar conversation, but I almost had a spiritual awakening the whole time going up there, listening to the Billy Graham channel. Wow. So on Sirius XM, little plug for that channel. But as soon as I got there, I just knew I was in the right place, the right time, the right purpose. And I was really just thrilled to be there. And I stayed camped at Bulwaga Bay for 2 nights, and it was just a great experience. That's all I got to say.
We're so grateful to you. And by the way, all of you that just watched the film on Kinema, the film is won. Now this, sounds a little bit bragging, but just to thank the cast and crew and acknowledge all of you, the film has won 13 awards already at film festivals. And the festival that Shawn directs, the Great Lakes Christian Film Festival, it won the Audience Choice Award. And that's a real honor, because that's the audience, the people at the festival chose this film. By the way, I noticed that Justin just made it in here, and Justin is wonderful in the film as Sam the scientist. Justin, we're live right now, and people that watch the film on a virtual screening are kind of enjoying getting to meet some of the cast. And Justin plays Sam, who tells Lucy and Papa, hey, these plesiosaurs went extinct millions of years ago. But Emma, you really set him straight, didn't you?
Yeah.
You remember how you handled Sam the scientist?
Yep, I told him off about Champ because nobody says bad things about my Champ.
Yeah. But Justin, you were great. By the way, why don't you share with our audience, Justin, how you got involved in the film? I can't remember. I think we may have met through the church, perhaps, or I know you lived across the street from the church where we were storing our gear and many of the crew staying in the church. But how did you get involved, and what was it like for you, Justin? Oh, Justin, I can't hear you. Let me see the audio. I'm not hearing Justin's audio. Justin, if you could check if there's an audio mic thing in your computer on the bottom left.
Can you hear me?
Now we got you. Okay.
Oh,
okay.
Perfect.
Okay,
right.
Go ahead, Justin.
All right. No, I actually met you through my wife. She was the one that was at church when you were stationed at the church and was going there for Sundays. And she introduced me to you and told me about the film that was going on and said that you were looking for actors. And I was like, never done it before. Let's give it a shot. Let's see how it works. And so I took a couple of videos. She helped me out by recording it. And, one thing led to another. And apparently my scientist video ended up working. So I became Sam the scientist.
Yeah, I think you taped an audition on video as the scientist and sent it to us, didn't you?
Yes, I did one for the scientist and one for the reporter.
Yes. Do you remember, Kelly, when you first saw Justin as the scientist? We went nuts and thought, oh, he's good for the scientist.
Perfect. You're perfect for the part.
Oh, thank you. I had a lot of fun doing it.
The lab coat and the bow tie and the books. And
oh, and by the way, your wife and kids are in the film too, in the birthday party scenes and in the, playing at the party and stuff.
Yes.
Well, let me ask a question and have each of you answer. This question is from Washington, D.C. Margaret, what do you think the movie has to say that applies to real life or things in the real world? Like, so what do you, what do you all think is like a theme, maybe what the film's about or something that it has to say? And maybe, I'll ask Kelly to go first, because since she co-wrote it with me, she kind of has been in that writing process, and that'll give you all a moment also to maybe think about maybe anything you'd want to say. How about to you, Kelly? What does the film say to us and to you or to the audience?
Well, to me, I see perseverance, because I know, and also overcoming the importance of overcoming obstacles. I know as a school teacher, I ran into a lot of children over my 32 years of teaching. And then, they come to me with all kinds of problems that's happening in their life, things that they're dealing with. Sometimes their family's going through financial difficulties. Sometimes they're going through divorce or separation. Some may have lost a pet. Just a lot of grief. And some of them come to me sometimes who have been bullied. And so all those things are dealt with within the movie, not just with, I mean, Emma definitely, she was bullied at school. And I think a lot of kids or people can relate to being treated poorly in the past by bullies of some kinds. And all of us go through difficult situations. Sometimes there's death in the families or just all kinds of things that goes on. And so it's important to have a good support system around you. And Emma obviously had Papa, and Papa was going through hard things as well, because here he had already raised a daughter and he lost a daughter. So he was grieving the loss of his daughter. And then he's having to raise a granddaughter. And even in the movie, he talks about, you know, I don't want to make a mistake. I want her to be happy. I don't want to let her down. And so he had all these burdens on him because, you know, he was up there in age and here he was starting over again. And so he was dealing with things that people in real life today deal with. So he was going through issues, and then Emma as well. So I think it's relatable to a lot of people. And I think perseverance and the importance of having a good structure or support system around you. Emma also had her teacher who just loved her absolutely dearly.
Yeah, like you said in the film, Miss Marino says she's the daughter I never had. How about you, Lucy, aka Emma? Why do you think people should see it, or what do you think the film is a theme or something that it says to people?
The film says to people about the power of hope and believing, because Lucy really has to just keep believing in Champ no matter what other people say. And when she finally does find Champ, she kept hoping and hoping that she would find him, and then she finally does, which is really just a powerful thing.
Well, the people watching this just saw the film, so we can do a spoiler, because we're warned people when they got this, do not watch the Q&A before the film, watch the film first. So when you finally, the way we did, that's a question that was sent in here. A fellow named Joe in Baltimore sent a question in, how did you create Champ? We were in the basement of the church with a green sheet on the wall, and Em and I were in a boat, and I think Kelly was even moving the boat, you know.
Rocking the boat.
Yeah. And so we had the green sheet on the wall that I bought two $14 green sheets. But then we were hoping it would work to add Champ and special effects. But what did you think, Emma, when you were in the theater on the big screen and you saw Champ for the first time on the movie screen, and that you and I were seeing him?
When I was seeing the Champ, he wasn't real. We used a green screen, and when we were on set, I was begging for you guys to show me the video footage, but you guys are like, no, you guys are gonna see when the movie comes out, like when it's in theaters. So I'm like, aw. But when I finally saw it, I was like, this is so cool. Like, just Champ on the green screen. It looks so real.
Oh, I was so glad it turned out good, because Kelly and I visited some schools, and the kids that would line up at the school and ask questions, this was a huge question, is what's Champ gonna look like? We can't wait to see Champ. And you know, so I was like, oh, help us, God. I don't want to disappoint these children. I want this to turn out. So I was so grateful it turned out. But on that last question about the theme of the film or what it says, did you want to add anything, Shawn or Justin, on that, or share anything?
Yeah, I just want to say that what really resonated with me was relationships. And you know, the Papa with Emma, you know, the whole idea with just being connected, you know what I mean, and not always being in the now with the person, and not distracted, not thinking about other things all the time, but just being engaged with the person that you're with at the time. To me, that was really important, you know. And in this day and age with family and children, whatever the situation is, you know, we're not as connected to the children, I think, as a whole as we used to be. And I think that was one of the themes that really stood out with me, was just family, you know, just really focusing on the family, not to steal a phrase, but that is my my heart for this film, you know, overall. And you know, all the distractions, all the adversities, doesn't matter. You still have that relationship, and that's your security.
Yeah, I was in a McDonald's recently and I saw these two adorable young children with their mom. And they were like, "Mommy, look at this. Mommy, look at my toy in the Happy Meal." And mom was like, "Shh, leave me alone." And mom's just like, I mean, she never looked at him. She was just on the phone the whole time. And I wanted to just go to her and, hey, you have these children. Look them in the eyes. They're more important than your phone. I realize we all sometimes have to check in or call or whatever. But I love that point. In fact, there's a little song in the film. I'll just play a riff of it. Lago time, and it goes. It has this kind of danceable beat, but it talks about when Papa Jerry quit the mill, he threw out his watch and time stood still. And by the way, when that played in the theater, I just fall here. Emma and her friends started boogieing and dancing. Do you remember that, Emma?
Yeah.
That was great. How about you, Sam? What would you like to, share?
I really liked the tone of it. There was a lot of backlash from the community. There was a lot of backlash from skeptics, but throughout all of those berating and all of the things that was said about, Papa and Lucy, they never lost their spark. They never lost that smile of theirs. They always looked at the bright side. They were such optimistics, and I just really appreciated how no matter what, they could always look at the bright side, and even responding to some of those critics. They always responded with politeness, with kindness. They never wished ill will on anybody else that wished ill will on them. They were just happy people, and I love that.
Wow, I love the crossword of your kids and family there behind you.
Little thing that
I
my
do
wife
this.
did.
Yeah, I do the same on my arm, and I just had another granddaughter, and my daughter was saying, "I'm gonna pick a really long name, so you have to have a super long tattoo." But then it was Ava and Sadie, so they weren't too long. But this movie has just really drawn people and touched people, and I'm just looking at some of the other questions. Um, Oh, one thing that came up was we got some attention because we had some real champ footage allegedly captured on our drone, and that's gotten quite a bit of discussion. So we had a question come in from England about the real champ footage and how did we discover that? About 4 minutes into the actual film that you all just watched on Kinema, there's a drone shot, and in the bottom right of the screen, some feel it's some of the best possible footage of Champ. Why don't you, Kelly, or maybe Emma also saw it on the film, or
Yeah.
if anyone want to chime in on seeing the real Champ possibly? Anyone want to add anything on that question?
You want to go first, Emma?
Sure. So when I saw Champ, I was so surprised. I was like looking at my mom. I'm like, "Did you see that? Is that Champ?" And then I finally realized that that probably is, because what else could it be? It's not like a giant fish.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and what's real interesting is we were in a boat. Emma and I were in this boat that was Mark and Alita's boat that said Gramps boat, and we noticed in the drone footage that this creature swimming behind us that looked like a plesiosaur was bigger than the boat. So the boat gave scale to it. And there's a real famous picture of Champ called the Sandra Mancy photo from the 70s. But one of the criticisms that skeptics have of that photo is there's nothing in the photo to give scale to it. And I'm not at all putting down that photo or Sandra Mancy, because she was a really wonderful person and her photo is so iconic. But it's interesting because it happened to catch Em and I in the boat, and it's bigger than the boat. That gives you a size of it, which is much bigger than alternative explanations like a sturgeon and things like that don't get that big. But how about you, Kelly? You're the one that spotted it first, if I recall right. You saw it first, Kelly, and said you got to look at this drone footage, Richard. Remember?
Yes, I realize a lot of people probably want to go back now and watch the movie again because they may have missed it, but it's around the 4-minute mark. And the first time I saw it, I was so excited. I was editing in South Carolina, and Richard was in LA because that's where he lives. And whenever we sit down to edit, I make a list of things and then I contact him, and he looks at the time marks and he sees if he agrees, and then we move on from there to Colin to change or tweak something. And so it came to be around the 4-minute mark, and I was watching on my big screen TV. And normally if we edit on the computer, it's a smaller screen and you don't see as many little details. But I said, this time I want to watch on my big screen, and you can just pick up so many more things on a big screen than you can in a small phone or a computer. But I remember when I saw it, I mean, my heart just dropped, because I thought, oh my goodness, I just kept rewinding it over and over. And I thought, I've got to call Richard. And I called him. I said, have you happened to see in the 4-minute mark, go there and look, because I think I see Champ. Or I asked him, I said, what do you see? And so he looked, he said, how did we miss this? Because this was, I think, in June of this year. So that footage had been sitting for approximately 2 years unnoticed.
Yes, on the drive of footage, because Daniel gave me the drive. Daniel, shout out to Daniel, by the way, because it was Daniel's drone that caught this. And Daniel did a great job. And Daniel had never shot a long feature film before, but Daniel married my friend Lisa. And Lisa and I have been friends since she was born, because she is friends with my daughter, and her dad has been a really close friend of mine. And Lisa married Daniel, and I was looking for someone to help us film this. And I noticed Daniel had filmed some short films about missionaries and mission trips. And I had, other people really wanting to be the DP that had shot features and everything. But, there's a story in the Bible where before Jesus called the disciples to work with him, it said he went off by himself alone and prayed and spent some time by himself. And he picked some people that, that he felt led to pick. And so when I saw Daniel's work, I thought, I'd like to give Daniel a chance to make a feature film and to shoot this, because I think he has the talent to do a good job. And, here we went on the adventure, and it was overwhelming at times for all of us. But Daniel had, if I remember correctly, I think someone had just given him, like, felt led on their heart to give Daniel a drone as a gift to believe in his kind of ministry with filming. Am I remembering right, Kelly? Do you remember?
Yes, and he cherished it. I mean, I remember being out when he was taking it out one day on one of the sets to use it. He was just handling it with such care, because it was a gift to him, and he appreciated it so much. And he was just so honored to be able to have this to use. And we were thrilled that he had it, because we were going to have drone footage in our movie. And so when he filmed it, he didn't even notice. We weren't even looking for Champ that day. All we wanted in that scene, we wanted an aerial view of Papa and Lucy in the boat with the vast lake around them and the beautiful scenery of the Adirondacks all around there. And that's all we were looking for. We weren't looking for Champ. And so that's what he did when he went out there, and he wasn't looking for it. And, it was bright and sunny. And I know on his screen, if he would have noticed it, he would have said something. But how sometimes when you're looking at a screen, when you're out in the sun, you can't always see really clearly. So he did the best that he thought he could. And then after filming was all over and all, he turned it all over to Richard. And so I just think it's interesting that for 2 years, we didn't even know we had this treasure.
Yeah, I told Daniel about it, once we discovered it, and he looked at it. He said, there's something there, all right. So we're kind of blessed in that we get a whole wave of new publicity about that footage, has made people know about Lucy. I am so grateful for all of you watching the film that have watched it all over the world. I'm so thankful to Kinema doing this virtual screening, because we did these in-person screenings, but obviously there's people that wanted to see the film and couldn't. So this was a really great chance over the holidays here. But why don't we go around and just, share any final thoughts or final words that you like to share about the film or to the audience. And maybe we'll start to my right, and then we'll end with you, Emma. So maybe Justin, and then Shawn, then Kelly and Emma could share. And just any final thoughts on the film and being a part of it, and anything they'd like to say to the audience from their heart that's watching all over the world. So why don't we start with Sam the scientist, Justin on the right?
I thought it was a wonderful experience. I've never done anything like this before. I've been a workaholic, you know, working 2 different jobs. I was general manager of a restaurant, you know, I was doing a bunch of different things at that time, and just to be able to have that opportunity to do something different and to experience different things that I wouldn't normally experience on a day-to-day basis. And I got to meet wonderful people. I met Richard, who is an amazing guy. Kelly, beautiful soul. Emma was very great to work with. So wasn't Shawn and everybody else that worked in the video. And I just gotta say, you know, thank you for the opportunity. It was a great experience for me and the family, because even my family was in it, and my daughters have over the moon about how she's in a movie and that her dad's a scientist in a movie and is bragging to everybody in her school. So,
well, I have to tell you too. There's a picture, Justin, of your daughters, your some of your children,
mhm.
and they're holding up the poster we signed and the book and stuff, and
Yes.
they're in the theater. I think it might be in the lobby or whatever at the screening in New York. And where was that? Was it Plattsburgh, Kelly?
Yep, that was the
It was
Strand
at the
Theater in
Strand
Plattsburgh.
in Plattsburgh.
Grand Theater, yeah. And the look on your kids' faces of pure, unadulterated joy, it really, I'm gonna get choked up and try to fight back some tears here, but it really moved me because, you know, I had some health crises and almost died. I had several emergency surgeries, and I've become a grandfather. And I said, God, if I live through this, I want to do something for children, because I had just played a role on stage of in Alice in Wonderland, a musical about Alice in Wonderland, and I played the part of the minister named Reverend Charles Dotson, who his pen name was Lewis Carroll, and he wrote Alice in Wonderland because the senior pastor's daughter, Alice Liddell, would always bug him as the associate rector, as they called them in England, or Parson. Would you tell me a story? So he'd make up a story about Alice going into the Wonderland and down the rabbit hole, and she said, you ought to write them into a book. So I wanted to do something for kids, and then I remembered, you know, my dear friend, the dearest friend, Kelly Tabor. I remembered, like, we've known each other since we were kids, since school days. I remembered, like, the kids at her school that she taught loved when she would tell them stories about being a little girl looking for Champ. And so my whole goal with this was to see a smile on a child's face. And I have to tell you, Justin, that picture of your kids smiling in the theater at the screening and holding their books and posters, I look at that and my eyes kind of cloud up, and I think, thank you, God. Thank you. Because, you know, at my late father's funeral, we put a quote from the poet Emerson on his funeral card in it, because he taught a lot of kids to play music, taught guitar. And it says, if you can put a smile on a child's face, if you can do something that encourages and brings joy to a child, you have truly lived, you know. And for me, that's worth more than like millions of dollars. Like, from Jesus' standpoint, if you touch the heart of one child, you know, Christ said you have to become like a little child. So thank you so much, Justin, for you and your family, and you're so precious and such a wonderful group. And how about you, Shawn? Any final words on your heart you'd like to share with the audience?
I have 3 points. First of all, it was an honor to play a mayor. You know, I personally probably will never get to that level in politics, but you can only hope so. So that was fun, just to at least play a mayor. Acting is a great way of just exploring different roles in life, if you will. So it's kind of fun. Number 2, Dave and Lori, the nemesis or nemesis, or what's the plural word of that? I don't even know. Who's the English teacher here? But say the nemesis were so funny.
Oh, they were great.
If you would have to know David and Lori personally to appreciate where they went with their characters. David is a lawyer. He's a straight-laced, you know, sharp, you know, very intelligent young man, but he's very, very serious for the most part. Lori is very, you know, energetic and exciting. And both of them played those evil characters perfectly. And
Oh yes.
that had me laughing the whole time watching their scenes.
Oh,
So I
Shawn,
got to
I
give a
just want
shout
to
out to
thank
them.
you. I want to thank
Yeah.
you, Shawn, because it's because of you and the Great Lakes Christian Film Festival we
Mhm.
met Dave and Lori, and they did a wonderful job hosting the awards. And Lori is so gregarious and has such a personality. And as much as I've done things in the public eye and been performing since I was a kid, I started playing the guitar in bars and clubs as a little boy in Pittsburgh. I'm actually like in groups, like shy and holding back, right? So, but Lori was so extroverted and came over and she was like, "You're going to dinner with us." I mean, she really reached out to us, So
Yeah.
thank you, Shawn, because we wouldn't have known Dave and Lori had it not been for you and your vision to start the film festival in Buffalo.
Mhm.
And they've been such a blessing, and they hit such a home run in these parts. They are everybody loves Dave and Lori as the villains, Beazle, Beamish, and Mercenary Mike.
Like I said, if you knew them on a personal level, you would appreciate their acting range. And I've never seen David in this light before. This is how I appreciate this role he was given. So, but yeah, these two, they're such a lovely couple, and I just love them in this. And they balance out the rest of the charmingness of you and Lucy, by Emma, just the charmingness of everybody else. Very nice, and they come off completely the opposite of everybody else, and it's just a perfect balance for that film. But thirdly, what really stuck in my head was your song that you sang. That I couldn't get it out of my head after the first couple times of reviewing it before we actually screened it, and then just keeps on coming back every now and then as you champ and me. It's just amazing. I love I love that simplicity of the song, and it really drives the point home of what this is all about, this film.
Oh, thank you very much. I have to say we had a question come in. A question come in. This is from Montana, and this is from Zach. He asked about possible sequels, and it seems like in the kitchen scene, Papa and Miss Marino are close. Will Miss Marino be back in the sequel? And Lucy's mother mentioned that Lucy's mother, it seems like it's a little open-ended, like it hints at Shawn mentioned Dave and Lori, it hints at possibly they were involved. Like, will there be more storyline about Lucy's mother, Miss Marino, Papa, and Lucy? Now, of course, we don't want to give anything away, but I will tell you that there is we do want to keep the book and film series going. And I asked Emma in New Jersey after the screening. We were out there in the lobby, and Emma looked so beautiful in her special dress for the premiere and everything. And I said to Emma, "Do you have any thoughts on the sequel?" And Emma, I don't know if you remember this, Emma, but you said to me, "Family." I think family be the theme, like Champ's family, like because for him to be around since the 1600s, he had to have had a mama Champ and have babies, and Champs, kind of were like a multiplying population, but also echoed in a family unit in the film, which I look at like Miss Marino as kind of a mother figure, and Papa like the father figure, and Lucy the girl, but also there's some question mark about the mother. But I'll turn to you, Kelly, before I get in trouble, because Kelly says sometimes I have talked too much and revealed too much. So I better hand it to you, Kelly, for your closing words and get out of rambling too much about the sequel. But and then we'll have Emma just like in the movie, Lucy had the final word. Remember the last scene in the film you all just watched? Lucy gets the final word. So how about you, Kelly? And then we'll give Emma the final word before we say goodbye to these folks all over the world that just watched the movie.
Well, I want to thank everybody who took part in the movie, and also like the whole town of Port Henry. We had people from Ty, from Crown Point, everybody that came together, the people that had the cabins for us. We think of Mark and Alita. We think of Rick's cabin. I mean, the boat that said Gramps boat on it. We're just so thankful. These people were all in and willing to help us in whatever we needed. And it's like we have this Lucy family now, all of us, all the cast and the crew and the people that all work together to make it all happen. We're just really thankful for every single person involved. And I just can't thank them enough. And I really do feel like they're really special, like brothers and sisters and family now, because it's so warming and it's just really special. And I know Emma's going to have to leave. So Emma, I want you to be able to have the last words here.
Okay. So I just wanted to say that I hope you guys all enjoyed the movie, enjoyed how pure and real the relationship is between Papa and Lucy. And I just really want to thank Kelly and Richard of trusting me with being Lucy. And thanks to the entire town of Port Henry for making this movie powerful and full of support, and just for making it happen.
Wow, perfectly said. Well, we wish you all a blessed holiday season, a Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, and thank you, Emma, thank you, Kelly, thank you, Shawn, thank you, Justin, thank you to the whole cast and crew, and thank you to you for watching the movie on Kinema, and thank you, Kinema, for hosting this screening. God bless you all, and keep checking in at lucyandthelakemonster.com, because after the holidays there'll be a DVD coming out of the film for you to keep your eyes and ears open. Those of you that, like me, still have those DVD machines. And before too long, it'll be streaming out there. So, just keep in touch on lucyandthelakemonster.com, and we'll keep you informed about that, as well as the upcoming sequel.
And also the books are available. The books are available on Amazon. They're available at Walmart and also Barnes and Noble and the Home of Champ in Port Henry. There's also a little home store there. And there's a couple other places, Tremblay's in Crown Point, New York, and also Gunnison's Orchard in Crown Point, New York is selling the book. And get yourself a copy, and you could be reading it while you're waiting for the sequel too.
Okay, God bless you all. Bye-bye.
Hi, everybody. Thanks for watching.